Hey guys, it's Matt. Got back from the hospital yesterday. I want to first apologize to the bathroom boys because this may actually be a 1.25 exercise for many, although I don't think I'll speak too slowly. First, I'll tell you about the synchronicities regarding the hospital. It was just incredible. There was about 5 and several I don't remember, but number one, what room number? Paoli Hospital. Went into the ER Wednesday morning, got out yesterday, Friday. What room number do you think I had? Well, of course, 337. It wouldn't be all threes. 337. And then Pam just shows up out of the blue, which I give her credit. I mean, I told everybody, just stay away. I'm okay. Stay away. Don't come visit me. Just sit here. What's the point? So she just shows up. She knows I don't want her to come, or I'm just trying to be nice to people. There's no reason to sit there with me. She has a stuffed animal. I said, it's an elephant. And I said, why is there one eye? You're going to think I'm making this up. The old guard that knows me knows I would not lie, not make this up. Matt, you keep saying this. I know, but it's so crazy. You're going to think like, oh, he's making this up. I said, the elephant has one eye. The right eye was the right eye was ripped out. She said, I didn't notice. The right eye of the stuffed animal was ripped out. It was right eye symbolism in the damn stuffed animal she got from the gift shop. So I got to pause this, guys, and catch my breath. It's funny as shit. Okay, guys, the other main synchronicity is this. When I went to the ER Wednesday morning, I guess it was wishful thinking. I didn't expect to be admitted into the main hospital overnight. I mean, I don't know why I didn't think that was a possibility. When I left here, I took nothing. I didn't even take a change of underwear. And I mean nothing. Absolutely. I had my little book for long ER waits on Descartes. The affiliate's $50 and it's Descartes. I got to go through his philosopher horseshit. Figure I'll be, and I did read a lot of it in the ER, waiting hours and hours. Anyway, so I'm admitted to the main hospital. Lucky there's nobody in the bed next to me. But I have nothing but the Descartes book. I have no laptop. And I called my stepfather. He's like, I'll bring your laptop and some food, some bananas and whatever the next morning. But the first night, nothing. So what do I have? Just the damn television. They put it up about 16 feet in the air. Your neck's, I have no problem with my neck. My neck's all crooked trying to look up at it. And you're just flipping channels. That's all I had the first night to occupy my time. There's nothing to do. It's just the nurse comes in once an hour and they check your vitals, as you know. Anyway, so it was like 3 things happened as I'm flipping through the channels back to back to back. And again, it's like an old system where you go and change the channel. It's like a second to get to the next channel, and then above channel 70 is like it was all pixelated. You couldn't even see the channels. It was like what you would expect in 1982 or something like that. And this is a $400 million operation, and the TV's 16 feet up in the air, and the channels above 70 don't even work. And of course, the mic, they don't let you just listen to the sound out of the television. It comes through your remote. Of course, that plastic Chinese factory-made speaker is all broken. So when it gets loud, it starts to muffle. It starts to muffle. It's all fucked up. So anyway, I could generally watch TV. So I'm flipping through the channels hour after hour. 3 things happened back to back to back that really got my attention on the second and especially the third. Not so much the first. I don't really remember what it was. But okay, it's like that's a little odd related to my situation. Don't really remember what it was, but I remember the second one. The next channel I flipped up to, I don't know, Lifetime or something, Hallmark movie or whatever I could get. It wasn't all pixelated piece of shit. The woman is like screaming out to her boyfriend, I'm not going to the hospital. I'm not going to the hospital. Like it was very reminiscent of me, not with you guys, but with my family in just the days leading up to this. Because even my uncle called me. I'm like, oh, I haven't talked to you for a while. You have to go to the hospital. I'm like, I'm not going. But I said, I'm following a process. I've been to the doctor this time. I'm waiting for the blood work. I'm following a process. So I'm not going to the hospital. I was yelling it the same way she's yelling it on Lifetime TV. I'm like, that's me. What the hell is going on? This is the second one. But it meant like I'm following a process. So you guys want me to go into the hospital before I get the lab work back from the doctor? I thought, well, if the doctor's been doing this 30 years, If if he thought I had to rush into the hospital, he would have probably said that day. I was in the office. Anyway, so the second one got my attention. And then, of course, the very next one, it's like, this woman's me yelling in the same way I was yelling at my family. The next one is this popular perfume or fragrance commercial you may have seen that's running all over. Life is but a dream. Certainly can't sing right now. It's like, what the F? Life is but a dream. I mean, this isn't coming out too good. I stopped and was going to re-record because a lot of you are like, Matt, that ain't shit. It was very impactful to me when it happened. That's all I can express. I can't re-record anything in this state I'm in. A lot of the segments I've been recording, I have to stop, and it's taken a long time to get this out. But it was very impactful to me, even though a lot of you are like, that ain't shit. It was to me. And there was a few other little synchronicities, but the big ones I told you about coming in. And here's the irony of all this. We'll switch from synchronicity to irony. And many of the first grade truthers haven't thought this one through and won't know what to make of this, won't know how to react to me because of this. Think about this. In a factual sense, I will owe the life of my body to one, General Electric, mega corporation, or Honeywell or Siemens, whoever built the $200 million CAT scan machine. I will owe the life of my body to that company and to Pfizer because I will be on at least 2 months of Eloquin, the Pfizer blood thinner. I'm not sure myself how to really react to that. Notice I keep saying the life of my body. It has nothing to do with the other parts of us. Soul, spirit are very separate. The first grade truthers now, wait a second. Well, I don't like what I'm hearing right now. Should I continue with this channel? It is a fact. I will owe the life of my body to Siemens, which is the General Electric of Germany, or General Electric for the CAT scan, and to Pfizer, because I'm without the blood thinners, I'm gone. I don't even know myself how to really react to that, but it's a fact. Let me address this. Several people have left comments or emailed me. Well, Matt, I mean, my God, the bill is going to be enormous. I'm not trying to solicit for money. This is a solicitation. This isn't a telethon. This isn't the telethon part. I have health insurance. That's what I'm going to talk about. I have Obamacare. But see, it's like, this is like taboo to a certain segment. There's all these different segments of the truth community. You have the righteous truthers over here. They say, did you know I threw out my television set? I want you to know that. And I eat grape nuts for breakfast. There's all different segments. And there's one segment inside the truth community. It's like wrong or something to have health insurance. You know the segment I'm talking about? And I'm sure when they'll unsubscribe. In other words, some of these comments or emails just assumed I have no health insurance because that's what a radical truth researcher does. Well, per the amount of money I make, I can go to the Obamacare exchange for $100 a month and buy a Blue Cross HMO. So I'm going to risk my whole life and financial future. Why wouldn't I do that? Of course I did that. I went out to the Obamacare exchange a while back and I bought the $100 HMO. That's all. Obamacare. It was all these years of back and forth and trillions of dollars spent and thousands of new pages of HHS regulations. You know what it comes down to at the end? You know what happened? All they did was ridiculously expensive health plans. My health insurance in my 50s, if I went out to Blue Cross on my own, would be around $700 a month. All they did was simply give people on a graduated level, if you make a certain amount or under, they simply give you a tax break, or they don't give you a tax break. They just they just pay for part of it. That's all. Literally, Obamacare, the 5 years of back and forth, it could have been, I'm noticing my speech is improving. I'm like relearning to talk. This is interesting. All of it could have been done in one afternoon. This is not a joke. By you, me, and Greg, and book us into the room. We booked ourselves into a room. We could have done, but it was 5 years of back and forth. There was other things like they added thousands of new patient codes and claimant coding. Like for example, there are new codes now. If your Obamacare has 3 or 4 ways to code a claim, if the patient was bitten by a duck, I'm not joking. They added things like that. So they added a bunch of busy work to make it seem like they were doing something. But all they did was they just allowed the $700 plan. You make this or less. Well, if you make this, then that $700 plan is $250. If you make less than this, it's $150. If you make less than that, it's $78. That's all he did. You, me, and Greg booked us into the room. We could have done it in 1 hour. I'm not joking. I came from the health insurance arena. I know a lot about this. So the radical righteous, I don't know what to call it. Do you have the righteous truthers over here that, of course, Matt, you watch movies and television? Oh boy, can I stay here? It doesn't matter what insights you have about the dark spiritual adversary or how this world works. You watch anyway. So you have another hardcore radical group. It's like facets of a motorcycle gang, the truth research community. And you'll have a facet that's like, oh my God, he has health insurance. Oh, I don't think we can trust this guy. It's stupid. It's $100 a month. And here's what it saved. Oh, my life? That's a small little thing. It saved my life. And okay, maybe I could have still gone to the ER. You think with no health insurance, they're going to admit me, give me everything I need, give me all the tests, they're going to be the exact same? No, I don't think so. Anyway, and then the bill. I don't even want the bill. Oh boy, this is what I used to do. I'll probably never see the actual bill without some sort of FOIA request, but it's probably minimum $25,000, maximum $35,000 to $40,000. But this hardcore segment in our truth research community, I'm some sort of sellout now. We've learned, let's announce to everybody, get the information out to the trolls. Matt had health insurance. Oh my God. It's like when they jumped all over Green Day. That didn't come out too good. Green Day, that band from the 90s that was kind of alternative but also kind of grunge. What is that album, Doki? Or Doo-Doo or Doki or something, Bite My Lip and Close. The song is about jerking off or something. Oh, they jumped all over Green Day. They played these punk underground clubs. They were cool. And then with Dookie, they sold out. There's a facet of nuts here that think I'm a sellout because I had health insurance. Just wanted to make sure I addressed that. Maybe if we can get rid of that weird facet or segment of the motorcycle club, my subscribers can go even lower. Okay, let me talk about different aspects of the experience. As many of you would expect me to say, overall, it was a horrific experience. I'm much more inclined to be the observer today in reality. It was absolutely fascinating and wondrous. And no, do I want to be back? Do I miss it? I'm pounding at the door. I want to be with you guys. That's what that kid that wanted to get back with his parents at the dance and 16 Candles. I don't want to go to the dance. I want to be with you guys. I don't want to go back. But it wasn't just, it was in many ways, of course, horrific. Somebody, time to take your blood. You just took my blood. You're going to poke me again. Endless stuff like that. Of course, but overall, with the right perception, it was incredible experience in many respects. Now, you're going to think, you think it's positive? This guy's losing his mind. You have the right perspective. That's part two of the work, my friends. Part two, the worry about yourself, the right perspective on anything. Here's one thing, of course, this is all NotnilC. All NotnilC, the admission process. Now, I don't know anything about being in a hospital. Apparently, I was there one night, overnight, when I was 7, because I had some sort of burning in my, you don't want all the details. They thought like a 7-year-old shouldn't have a bladder infection, so they took me into the hospital. So basically, I've never been to a hospital. I had no idea. And now I see very clearly that, okay, you can go to the ER, and they'll run the tests, and they'll do all sorts of things. They have huge capabilities. But the admission process, that's like the prison aspect. I see that now. And I'll be just a few minutes here, but I won't go too long. Many of you know. We like to hold you overnight. We go to, so we can give you another, injection of the thinners, which is, going to be better than the oral. And, it just seemed like, I don't think they bait and switched me. I don't think they were trying to be deceptive, but it just seemed like, okay, overnight, and I'll be out by 9 a.m. the next morning. It just seemed like that sort of thing. Because, if anybody's saying, well, a blood clot in the lung, Matt, what did you expect? One of the doctors in the ER said, if the clot is just in your lung, we can get you out of here today. I'm not kidding. They found another one in my calf. Okay, the calf probably broke loose, and you know how that works, right? Found it. The one in the calf was like 8 inches long. We'll talk about that. I'm not here to gripe about my ailments. I'm already getting shit from you guys about, look, he's doing what he said not to do in that video. He's griping about his ailments. He just needs 3 old friends to sit with at lunch. I'm not going to do that. But okay, fine. You just want to admit me overnight. Oh, sign here. Well, then it's like a prison. Okay, I didn't realize this. And they made it pretty clear that I'm like, I went out. No, they said, you leave here, you get nothing in terms of health insurance. You walk out of here, you get nothing. Well, how long am I here for? Nobody could give me any details. Well, you're scheduled for 2 nights. They didn't say that at the ER. They said 1 night. Anyway, you're stuck there until they let you out. You are stuck there. Unless you want to walk out on an $80,000 bill, then it's yours. It is literally, in that aspect, they were good people. But that aspect, it's like a prison. And I felt it, and it drove me nuts. I was going batty at the end. The nurses were like, stop asking me about discharge. I mean, I was getting a little bit out of control. And if I had the night I had last night in the hospital, I'd still be there. Because I had another major cramp come back. The body reacts with fever. They come in every 4 hours, check your pulse, check your temperature. Oh, you have more spasms and fever. You need another couple days of monitoring. Like, well, what? It's I'd rather suffer here. Because that's all they could do for me. The thinners, that's it. There's no magic wand or anything like that. Pam, with her mother, just had a major issue. She's older. It was basically with her just electrolytes, and she got a little bit off and was kind of like, I don't know if she fell or she was in the hospital. I think they initially said like 3 days. It turned out to be like 7 days or even more. Like she couldn't get out. That is just something, I don't mean to scare anybody, but once you're admitted, I mean, yeah, they can't stop you. Like if you have no health insurance and they still admit you, can't stop you from walking out. But if you have health insurance and you're like, I'm out of here, you'll get nothing. It's a prison without any walls. I felt it, and it was very hard I did come to grips, but I had a very difficult several hours where I'm like, Matt, practice what you preach here, buddy. Part 2, the work. You're bigger than this. I calmed down. I said, I'm not going to stop harassing these nurses. I had a real bad 2 to 3 hours where I realized this. I mean, I thought they're going to add another day. And I didn't panic, but I kind of kicked myself saying, well, Matt, you shouldn't have, eventually you came to your senses, but, you talk about part 2, the work, you should have acted appropriately right from the beginning. A couple of people wanted to know or made comments about, did they want to put you on a ventilator? Because I do have, and it certainly seems I have trouble taking a full breath, but that's because of the spasm. And as the breath gets fuller, the stabbing pain gets more. So my body starts taking these little tiny breaths. It certainly appears to be a shortness of breath. And people want to know, did the ventilator salesman, the carpetbagger, traveling ventilator salesman, were they outside your door? Would you like a ventilator, sir? We can get you on a ventilator. No, they never pushed. They never pushed for the ventilator. Okay, guys, I want to talk to you about a more Recitere, which I have to say for a while, to new people, that's serious. Use Recitere, subject. In the ER, I was there so long when they admitted me back when I was, the IV drip for an hour. And I had so many tests because of the pulmonary embolism that I saw so many people come and go, and I was positioned right in the middle, and every conversation was loud for some reason. I was listening to 6 different rooms at one time for hour after hour after hour. And other than family members, the first person I called was Rob. Rob, who helps us who set up the free voice for us. And I said, Rob, one thing I've learned so far here is as we get older, I said, I'm not going out like this. I can't get too specific here. The amount of really old people that were coming in, that were just in horrible condition. One had fallen. The person had advanced dementia or an Alzheimer's. One guy was not as old, but he was 150 pounds over where his teeth were. He was talking about his teeth falling out. Once life becomes that, Rob and I were like, we won't do it. The lengths that these people or families are going when they're already in horrible, horrible condition to hold on to another few weeks of life or a few months, it does support the NPC concept because spiritually/soul, they might not have anything else than this, but I don't know if it's just that. We'll discuss that sort of thing, hardcore midnight reality stuff some other time. But once life becomes, the people that were coming in, I can't say what I want to say, but many of them, 5 to 7 years before they came in, when everything started failing, they should have gone off and do what Violet did. There's nothing wrong. I mean, she had advanced brain, whatever. I mean, she was in horror, couldn't eat a full meal. We know what Violet did in Switzerland. You understand, if you're new here, potentially what she did and why she did it, because of the pain and suffering. I guess you can do this in more European countries. But it's this, the whole system. I know there's certain states that allow it now, but the system is set up to get these people just a few more weeks or a few more months of the misery that they're already suffering. And it was really eye-opening for me. And I just said to myself, and I've always thought this, but I've never been in the middle of it. And I looked around and I said, I will, whatever I have to do, I said, I will never, ever let it, this is stage 10. These people, I will not let it get to what I'm observing here. Never let it get to this level, not even close. Once my suffering goes to level 2 or 3, whatever. I don't know exactly what my plans will be, but I will never let it get to this level. There was very few in the emergency room that I observed. I wasn't there for days and days, but it wasn't like a kid broke his leg playing football and just you got to patch that up. And there were a few of those, or you cut your finger, but it was literally people that you could see had been suffering horribly for years. And the system is there to give them a few more months of suffering. What the hell for? The people that were at this channel that got on Violet for the decision she made, she never was clear with me on what she had. It's been a long time. It was some sort of brain cancer, I believe. She couldn't even literally hold a meal down. The suffering was so. People that got on her and got on me for supporting Violet, these people are out to lunch. And that is the most polite way that I can put it. I eliminated a lot of people from the channel a year and a half ago because of what they were saying regarding me, talking to you about Violet and the decisions or choices that she was making. There's a place, these people are out to lunch. So if you observe the people in their 80s and 90s, the suffering, and it's like you could see, it's not like the person was having a wonderful active lifestyle with their grandkids and they were taking on long walks in the park and they just broke their ankle. No, these people, they had been in absolute misery for years, many of them I could see. And then whatever condition, their brain, it wasn't just the dementia, the Alzheimer's, but many people, this isn't coming out, but then they went into the ER. Can you give me, sir? You know what it is? It's Kevin Bacon in Animal House, the Omega House. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. Can this ER give me just 6 more weeks of misery? Because I don't want to, oh my gosh, to pass, that would be so horrible. This whole society's view of death is so, well, it's wonderful news to us. You know where I was going to go. It's wonderful news to us because of the rule of opposites. If this is society's rule on death, somebody that's so much in pain, and just to give them a few more weeks of their suffering, then you know what? It's the greatest news of all time. That just from the way that NotnilC has put its systems in place, we know that death is nothing to fear. And when it gets to that, something to be very, very welcomed. One case I saw, I'll share some details. This person had to be in their late 80s or early 90s. And I don't know if it was because of the fall. They just weren't all there. It seemed like they did have some sort of Alzheimer's or dementia. The mouth hanging open. It seemed like even on the best of days, they're just an absolute mess. And is the system going to admit them for 12 days in the hospital and spend hundreds of thousands? No, but they still, well, but Matt, what are you supposed to do? Are they supposed to just get kicked to the curb? I'm not saying that either. It's hard to talk about. The whole system is set up to prolong life at any cost, to avoid death. Well, if the archons have you so securely, why don't they let you go into the light? That is a factor. Not going to get into that right now. The Archons are so good at their light trap trick. Why don't they just let people? Why is the whole system set up to keep you alive for another week? That doesn't make a lot of sense either. Soul trap people, but I don't know. We'll see if they address that. So that's not really what I expected to get into. The system's set up, no matter what the level of misery, is to just give you another week. Okay, I guess I'm being a little repetitive, but the point, what's so shocking is the system doesn't even allow the alternative. The system doesn't even allow the doctors to come to the family and say, look, let's just do this like you would do for a pet. The pet process makes sense. Took Bootsy in. The doctor says this, she had issues. She was 16 or 17, peeing outside the box, was losing weight, and this cat has issues. You want me to do this and then for a few more months? No. It's time to put the cat down. Why wouldn't that carry forth to the human? It's not inhumane. That's the most humane thing. The whole way the system is set up is sick. People want to know about the Action Jackson movie issues with Carl Weathers regarding Paoli Hospital. Did they push it on you? Did they ask you? The ER, remember, ER is like, you can't even consider it part of the hospital. It's not, you're not admitted. It's like two completely different sides of the river. You're admitted over here, but neither side asked me. Are you a Carl Weathers fan? Did you rent that? They didn't even ask me if I was Action Jacksonated. They didn't ask me. Why would they push it on me if they didn't? Matt, they assume everybody is. No, they know 15 to 20% of the population, that's millions and millions, did not rent the Carl Weathers movie, Action Jacksonation. In this country, this would be close to 35 to 40 million people in just the U.S. didn't do it. And it's not 400 people. Their goal was never 100%, but they didn't even ask either side of the river. Nothing was pushed. It was like 2020 never even existed. Now, the biggest win of all for me, other than the fact that hopefully I'm properly diagnosed and I'll live, other than that small issue, is there was nobody next to me in the room. That I didn't realize till about halfway through, like how horrific it can be if you have the wrong, quote, roommate. And they're coming in on you. It's 4 hours for your cycle. You have to do a pulse and temperature, and every morning get the blood, and they're doing a different cycle for them every 4 hours, waking you up, and they're over there snoring. They're over there, or some sort of, they're wailing in the. I gotta add this in. There was an older person, but in the room next to me, not right next to me, that came in for a day. Was an older person. I never saw them, but the way that, I'm not even going to show you or attempt to do how they were trying to clear their throat or get something. It was like they're coughing up a chicken, like they had a full chicken in their throat or something. It was like, oh my God. Could you imagine if you were in the room next to that person? Talk about book us into the room. Anyway, I didn't realize till like a day in, like, oh my goodness, wait a second here. Like this, that's like my first time in the hospital. I don't know what to expect. It can be, I was like, this could be an absolute nightmare if you have the wrong person next to you, and even having, the greatest person next to you is still going to be somewhat awful. I got to really be thankful for this. And then I was for the rest of the time. Overall, though, I was pretty proud of myself. When they told me, a blood clot in the lungs, something that is relatively life-threatening if it's not treated. I've never had anything major in my entire life. I was proud of myself because not that I just had no fear of death or anything. I literally was thinking about my cats. I kid you not. Who's going to take care of my cats? Who's going to take care of them? And I told my mother, I said, I'm more worried about the cats than I'm worried about myself. First thing out of her mouth, no, you're not. I'm more worried about my cats than I am about myself. 100% conviction said that. No, you're not. Stop saying things like that. I don't know. Most people they don't understand how we see reality, most people around us, but that's nothing new to us. Those that have pets, guys, anything can happen. Always make sure you have a backup plan for your dog or cat or a neighbor that has a key to your house or a way to get in. It really is essential. My neighbor here was super, super big in terms of coming in there's some, I don't want to go over all of Fifi Addie's special needs or whatever. She doesn't need any insulin injection or anything like that, but she has special needs. And he was incredible, absolutely incredible. Told him how to get into the house, and to have somebody to rely on like that. You can't do it after the fact. In the hospital very early on, I started to notice the dichotomy of the situation or the irony of certain things. And we observe this through all facets of reality. A good example is, right down the hall in Paoli Hospital, there is a $20 million machine for this, and around the corner there's a $40 million machine for that, and they have all this stuff, of course, millions of dollars here and there, and some of the injections are $40,000 an injection. They have all that, but there was no fan in the bathroom. I'm just seeing it this way. I told you about the speaker in the remote control, because your neighbor has their own TV. The TVs are next to each other, 16 or 40 feet up in the air, but so you can watch different shows. It comes through remote, and it's like, welcome to the ABC world. It was all messed up, and so I'm like, well, they have the $80 million machine down the hall, and they can't get a speaker that works. This just kept happening over and over. What are some of the other examples? I mean, just even the meal service. Okay, when I got in there, I told you I had nothing. I didn't even have a banana. I had nothing. I had to order some dinner. And of course, I don't even know what it's probably like $40 for a burger. And it was like this, I don't know, it's this separate service they called room service. And, it all goes on your bill. They'll hit you with a charge later. I think very little is paid by the insurance in terms of meals. I don't know. But it's like, well, if the bill's going to be $40,000, why not just include you could get a chicken sandwich, a burger, or a fajita wrap. I mean, why you can't include that? I don't think it is. I mean, even in the hospital itself, just not what insurance pays, what insurance doesn't pay. You can't include you're getting a $50,000 test down the hall, and you can't include a burger. Just gotta put the burger on the bill. Oh, just put the ketchup's extra. It doesn't make any sense. And they give you the toothbrush they gave. I didn't take a toothbrush. They have this little pack for you, a little tiny tube of toothpaste, and the toothbrush was so cheap. And I was brushing. I had the IV in my right arm. Oh, you got to keep the IV in the whole. I wasn't being dripped. You just have to keep the IV and needle the whole time you're in. I wasn't being dripped. If you're in for 5 days, the needle's sticking in your arm for 5 days without being taken out. That was real pleasant, but you get used to it. So I'm brushing with my left hand, which I'm not used to doing. And I'm kind of pushing real hard. The thing starts to bend back like it's going to snap off. Like, they can't get more than a 20-cent toothbrush. That's why around every corner, I noticed this dichotomy. That word came to me. I don't know if that's the right word. There's irony. And that's how the whole society is set up like that. But overall, guys, this Paoli, Pennsylvania hospital, if you take out that one little incident when I was 7 years old, I've never been in the hospital, so how can you judge? Well, because we live life. We judge how everything is today. It was incredibly efficient, well run, and you can just, in dealing with people with actual intelligence. Almost at every level you're dealing with, these people were competent and they were attentive. There's a lot of, this is happening everywhere, I'm sure, with hospitals going downhill, but especially in the Philadelphia area. Einstein Hospital, Norristown is getting a bad reputation, and Chestnut Hill, somebody told me some horror stories about Chestnut Hill, and now Abington Hospital, Abington, Pennsylvania, used to be top-notch 15 or 20 years ago. They say that is going downhill because that's bought by the Jefferson system. They're bought by a larger player, and then it all goes downhill. And this is, you hear these rumors I hear Lankenau Hospital here in this area, Bryn Mawr Hospital, and Paoli. I'll tell you what, again, I've never been in a hospital. It was like clockwork. If the nurse said she's coming in at 4:50 to administer injectable thinner, whatever, she was there at 4:50. At every level, there was competence. It was actually it was comforting, and it was impressive. So to wrap this up with a summary, I guess I should apologize to the first grade truthers, but they left this video. We don't have many here anyway, but they left this video 20 minutes ago because they just want to hear how the hospital's out to get you. All the negatives,
The first grade truth is just, Matt, why you went into that hospital. You got to just tell us all about how they tried to get you, how they tried to make you go kaput, how they tried to kill. No, it was just the opposite. No, I don't like the system. I don't like the way the whole system is set up in this country, of course. What I talked about earlier, trying to extend life day by day for those that have already been suffering for 15 years. I don't like the whole system, of course, but that's not that these people are working inside the system. They weren't out to get me at every app. It was just the opposite. I'm sorry, first grade truthers. You came here to see all the ways they were trying to push ventilators on me, and they try to kill you over here, and they try to kill you. It was the opposite. The system's not very good, but these people were trying their best. And if we can lose another first grade truther in the process, you've got so many videos to watch over at BitChute. Go see if the old man in the chair is still, Matt, the way you're going, the old man in the chair might be there longer than you, maybe. And you know what? I was going to say that would be just fine, but no, if he's still spewing his bullshit nonsense. And when's the genocide coming? All the people that spewed that, have they apologized? Nope, I doubt it. Thanks for listening.